So this is the part 2 of the end-to-end data engineering project on Azure. Now, if you haven't watched the part 1, then you can go and check the link in the description. Go first watch the part 1 and then continue with this series. Thank you. So in this case, all you have to do is go back to your Azure portal and just search Synapse Analytics. Now click onto the create. Same thing, free trial, keep it as it is. Resource is our Tokyo Olympic. Over here, I can just write Tokyo Olympic SA Synapse Analytics. Okay, it should be unique. So check if you get an error, then you can change the name. Southeast Asia account name. Now, while you create the Synapse Analytics workspace, you have to provide the storage location where your files about all of the queries you do and the metadata will get stored. So in this case, we already have the Tokyo Olympic data, so you can just select that. Okay, you don't have to change anything, but if you don't have, you can always create something new from here also. So just select the Tokyo Olympic file system, select the same one, click next, keep everything as it is. We don't want to touch anything right now. Click next, review, and once the validation is done, you can just click onto the create and it will create the Synapse workspace for you. Okay, so we'll wait for that. Once it is complete, it will take few minutes to complete. Once it is complete, then we can move forward, load our data onto the Synapse Analytics, and then use some SQL query for analytics so that we can understand our data better. Okay, so our Synapse workspace is ready. All you have to do is click onto the go to resource group. This is our Tokyo Olympic resource group where all of our resources are stored. As you can see, we have the Databricks service available, Data Factory was running, Synapse workspace, storage account. So we stored each and everything inside this resource group. Now you can click on this Tokyo Olympic essay, which will basically redirect you to the Synapse workspace. Again, over here you will find all of the information. On the side you have information about the on the side you have the information about the IAM, security, networking, and everything. What we are really interested in is going to the Synapse Studio. Just like for the Azure Data Studio, we went to the new portal. For the Databricks, we went to the new portal. For the Synapse, we also have the new portal available where you get redirected and then you can create the pipeline and everything. Okay, so at the start of this video, in the introduction section, we talked about all of these services, right? So on Azure, you can use Synapse Analytics to build the Azure Data Factory pipeline. You can also write the Spark code. You can also do the SQL things and everything on top of this only. You don't really need the ADF or the Data Factory, but you don't really need the Azure Data Factory or the Databricks individually. You can do everything over here. But I just showed you everything individually so that you guys can have the understanding about multiple services and how to connect them together. So that is the reason I did that. I just wanted to repeat this part so that you guys can keep this in mind, that using Synapse Analytics you can do everything here and then and there, and we will see how. Okay, so this is what the workspace looks like. You can ingest data, explore data, and visualize data using the dashboarding tool that you like. So click onto this button and expand this. Again, we have multiple things. First, we have the data. This is where all of your data about the databases, tables, and everything will get stored. So this is where it will go, and we will create our database using this page only. Then we have the develop. So this is the develop section where you can actually create the notebook or use the SQL script or build the pipeline like Azure Data Factory. So you can, if you want, you can test this by clicking on this plus icon. You can either use SQL script, so you can write all of your SQL script over here and store it. Then you have the KSQL. Then you can also use the notebook. So if you want to write the Spark code, you can also write your Spark code over here. But for that, you will have to create the Apache Spark pool. I'll show you where you can do that. So if you want, you can also try that out. And then we also have the information such as data flow. Data flow is same as the Azure Data Factory. So I can add the source, attach the source by creating the new data source, by creating the new link service, just like we did for the Data Factory. And you can also link data from here. So you can, instead of having this in place, you can directly just use this single service to do each and everything that we have done. We already understood why we chose the different services, because that gives you the opportunity to learn about various services available on Azure cloud. So again, I just wanted to point out this because a lot of people will say in the comment, oh, you can do this on the Synapse Analytics, why did you do this using Data Factory or Databricks? Because to teach you guys, okay, understand that this is just a tutorial video to make you understand about all of these services. This is not the actual production, uh, this is not actually the production code that we are deploying in the real world. We just want to learn about various services, and that is the reason we try to explore various services. So wanted to point out that you can do everything on the Synapse Analytics. You can do everything. You can write Spark code, you can write SQL script, you can also build a data flow like the Data Factory. So you can do everything over here. Let me just delete this. This is deleted. Delete this, and let me delete this part also. A nice UI. Yeah, yeah, that is done. So this is about the develop. Then we have the integrate. So if you want to integrate pipeline, Azure Data Factory, right? So if you click onto the integrate, click onto the Synapse. If you want move transform, you can have the copy data available inside this. So you can use the integrate service and do the same thing. This is same exact the UI of Azure Data Factory that we did. Nothing is different. Okay, so this is the, over here we have the flow, data flow. If you want to create the flow, same as the Azure Data Factory, or you can also have the integrated exactly right plan in the Data Factory available. So you can just delete this and then go to the monitor, and so here you will monitor each and everything such as Spark SQL pull, Spark pull, and then all of the requests that you have done, and then you have the manage. Here you can, if you want to create the Spark pull, you can click onto the new, give the Spark pull name, choose the such as the set test. You can choose the memory optimize, select the number of cores, just like we did for the Databricks. You can also do the same thing over here and create your Spark pull. But in this, we have already done the Spark work on the Databricks, so we will not do the Spark. We will use the UI tool to manually upload the data. You can again do this using code also, but we will go with the UI so that we can understand each and everything. So for that, you can just click onto the data part and click onto this plus icon. Over here we have multiple options. You can connect to the external data, integrate some data. You can use the SQL database, such as if you have like PostgreSQL, MS SQL stored somewhere, you can use that, or you can use the lake database, which is the our data lake file. So you can click onto this lake data. This will create the database. You can give the database name on the side as Tokyo DB. Okay, this will have our Tokyo database or Tokyo Olympic DB. Okay, this is much cleaner. We will have this. So we created the database. Now what we want to do, we want to create the table and load the data. So over here you can click onto this table, and over here you can click plus table, and we have the multiple options. Just click onto the from data lake, click, give the table name. So our first table name, we can just go to the storage accounts. Inside the storage account, I have this containers, Tokyo Olympic transform data. I'll just copy the athletes. This is my table underscore athletes. Just give athletes, and link services, just select the default one. You don't have to do anything over here, and over here just select the exact file you have. So go to Tokyo, double click this, transform data athletes, and select the single file. Now over here we selected the individual file, but you can use the code to select multiple file at once, or you can also select one single folder to read all of the files from that particular folder also. But we'll go with the single file for the understanding purposes how it works. This will detect the external file and it will try to capture the data from that. So once it reviews the file, then you will have something like this. So our default is the comma, which is our CSV. First row is infer column names because our first row is the column name. Delimiter is default empty string. Do not touch it. Everything is same. Max strength is everything keep default, and click on to the continue. It will create something like this. Let me just collapse this and this also, so that we can see it better. So as you can see, it read the person name, country name, and discipline. Also the data types and everything is available. So you can also change the data type while reading the file if you want. But if everything looks good, just click on to the validate and click on to the publish. It will publish this data table onto our actual database. So you can go over here, tables, you can refresh this, and you will find the athlete table available over here. And if you want, you can also query this. So click onto this athlete, these three dotted icons, select top 100 rows. So let's say if I do select star from this table athletes, if I run this, let me just close this. Over here you need to first select the database. So this is my master data. Now over here use the database. You will have to refresh this and you will find your Tokyo Olympic DB. Make sure you have selected that. The database is important. Connect to, if you have, this is currently we are using the SQL server list. We already talked about this, the different types of Synapse Analytics servers. You can also have the dedicated SQL pool or the Spark pool if you are using the Spark code, but this is about that. And just run that and you will see the same data is available over here also. So we imported the data for athlete using the UI tool. We can also do the same for all of the different files. So we'll go plus table data lake. I'll just give the table names just coaches. Link service, just use the same one. Over here, go to the coaches, transform data, coaches, select the file. Okay, click on to continue. It will detect the file type, detect the schema and everything. Once it is done, make sure the infer columns is this. The first row is our header. Click on to create. If it looks good, just keep it as it is. You can also publish this, but let's just get all of the tables. So entries, gender. Okay, select the link services, go to the folder. Now you can also select on the folder level if you have all the multiple parts of files, so you don't have to select individual files. So you can also go on the folder level, but we are selecting this as it is like this. Okay, by individual file. Just click on to the continue, detecting files, infer schema true, everything is same. Click on to continue. Just make sure you can also validate this. So as you can see, this is long, which is kind of like the integer value. So schema is properly detected. Click on to the data lake. Now we will do this for the medals. I have the medals. This one. Go over here. Transform data. Medals. Select this one. Click on OK. Continue. In first columns true. We'll wait for it. Continue. Okay. Medals is done. And then the last one from data lake. I'm gonna go get the teams. I'll copy this. Paste the name. Select the link service. Go over here. Transform teams. Okay, continue. Wait for this to complete. Once it is done, infer column names, create. Everything looks good. Now you can just validate all. It contains letters. So this one, validation output column name should only contain letters, numbers, or underscore. This is this is fine. You can just do the publish all. There is one error. Okay, let me check. This is fine. Discipline mail. Okay, over here we have an error, rank by total. You can just put the underscore inside the medals. We have the error. Now you can also do the validate. We don't have any error available, so you can just click on the publish all. It is deploying changes now. Once it is done, then you will have everything available over here. So if you refresh this now, on the side you have the athlete, coaches, entries, gender, medal, and teams. So let's say if you want to do some analysis using SQL. So first we can just check the data. Select star from coaches. If it looks good, this looks fine. You can also do the same for entries, gender. This also looks good. We have the medals. This is looking fine, and we have the teams. This is looking fine also, right? So we can do two way analysis. One is I will show you using the SQL, and the creating dashboard part or creating visualization, you can do it by connecting Power BI by yourself. Something I'm keeping for you guys to do, but it is pretty simple. You just have to create the connection from the Synapse Analytics to the Power BI or Tableau. You just connect it using the data source and it should be done. Okay, so let's just do basic analytics. So count numbers of each country. So count the number of athletes from each country. So if you want to do that, we have athletes. Inside this, we have the country and the number of athletes from the country. So pretty simple. Select uh, country. So I'm just gonna, okay, it doesn't work. Country, comma. I'm just gonna do star count as total athletes from the table athletes group by country. This is basic SQL. If I run this, you will see we will have all of the total athletes from each and every country. You can also order by this. So order by, let's say, this count total athletes, descending order. If I run this, you will see from the United States of America we have like 615 athletes, Japan is 586, Australia, and all of the like this. So you can use SQL for analysis. Again, this is what I teach in my SQL for data engineering course. You know how to think about analytics, how to write all of these SQL query. You will understand everything. So if you haven't taken the SQL for data engineering course, I'll definitely suggest you to check it out in the description. Then we can also do something like this. Okay, so calculate total number of medals won by each country. This is what we did using Spark code, but we can also do it using SQL. So this is from the medal table. So we can do something like select. We have team countries. Okay, from medals, Okay, and what I really want to do, calculate the total medals won by each country. So I can do group by team country. So each country, and then I can do something like sum of, let's say, gold, sum of silver, sum of bro bronze. Okay, and I'll just do gold is like this. Total gold, total silver, total bronze, and I go back, I run this. Hopefully we have the error. Bronze is BRONZE. Okay, there's a typo, sorry for that. Just run this. You will see we have the Argentina, all of these data, like this is basically grouped by each and every country and total gold medal. But let me just order this by we are mainly interested in gold, so I'll just do descending order for gold. And you can see United States highest gold, then China 38 golds, Japan, but it's the same with total silver, bronze, like this. So you can also order by based on a different columns, but you get the idea what we're trying to do over here. Okay, we can also run few more analytics. So let's say I want to do calculate the same that we did for the Spark, average number of entries based on the gender for each and every discipline. So if I go back over here, we did this part, average number of entries based on the gender. I will suggest you to write this code by yourself, pause the video and write the query by yourself so that you can understand better. I hope you completed your query, and if you want to do that, it is pretty simple. In the SQL we have average function, so we are using, let's say, the, this table. Okay, entries gender, so we will use discipline from entries gender. Okay, over here what I want is average number of entries for each gender. So I can just do average female, average female, and average male, average male. Okay, I can just run this. Pretty simple, right? I run this female. Okay, this is a comma. I select this. Run this. Entries gender is invalid. Discipline is invalid. Do I have the typo? DISCIP. What? Oh, okay. I forgot the group by. Sorry. Okay, mistake. Yeah, okay. Just select this. Yeah, should be good, right? So again, been recording this video from last 3 hours, so happens. Then I have something like this, so you can also filter on top of this. So if you want to, get the information about just archery, so you can do where discipline, discipline you can just copy from here is equal to archery, and you will get the information about that only single. So, okay, so you can also do a lot of things. I just show you few ways how you can analyze your data. Now the next part is this thing. Now there is one more thing, you can also visualize this data. So let me just remove this part. Okay, and if I run this, you can click onto the charts and this will give you the chart about this. Why it's not showing properly, just yeah. Yeah, you can see the average male and female. So you will have the two line chart available over here. You can also do the bar and you will have much better understanding about it. You can change it over here so that you can get the better result at the end and build the charts. So just like this, based on the query, you can, get the table and also get the charts to understand about the particular data. So it provides a lot of functionality. Again, uh, we have a scope for this project, so we are only going to cover the data loading part and some basic analytics. But next step is to build a dashboard. So what we did this part, created, loaded our data and loaded the data onto the analytics. Now it's up to you how you want to proceed this forward. I just show you the data engineering side of the things. So how to build a pipeline. This is just a start. Again, this is kind of like the proof of concept of one project, but there are a lot of things that you can do, such as you can attach the trigger to the Azure Data Factory. So every time at particular interval you want to run the entire code, you can also do that. You can also deploy your Spark notebook to the data factory, okay, if you want to run on the specific interval, or you can also do the same thing on the Synapse Analytics if you want to run some analytics on top of it or create the new table. So I highly suggest you to go and explore. And there is the one challenge for you. And so generally all of the projects that I've done in past, right, consider it YouTube Analytics if you have watched it or not, Uber data engineering, Twitter data analysis and everything, a lot of people complete the project and tag me on Twitter and LinkedIn. So again, I suggest you to do the same. Once you complete this project, you can tag me on Twitter or LinkedIn. But before you tag me, make sure you create some dashboard out of this data. So you can either export the data as it is on your local computer if you want to do that, or you can connect to the Synapse Analytics and build a dashboard as per the requirement. So I have the MacBook, so Power BI is not supported. So I'm not going to do the dashboarding part because this is more towards the data analysis side. So this scope of the project was only about the data engineering, but you can do that by yourself.